Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to make this interesting pattern, and you can use any color that you'd like. As you can see, I've made different colors. Yeah, so you can use any color that you like. Today we're going to use the black, orange and red to demonstrate. Yeah, and I hope that you enjoy the video. I hope that you learned something, and please don't forget to subscribe and also like and share the video, and also leave a comment. So let's begin. So what you need is black beads, orange beads and red beads. You also need earring hooks, a beading needle, pliers, scissors, a lighter, which is optional, and nylon thread. So you're supposed to use black if you're using black beads, but for today we are going to use the white thread so that you can see. So we begin by picking 4 beads. Pick 4 beads. Pull them through the thread towards the end of the thread, but you make sure that you leave a tail of about 5 inches. Yeah, make sure you leave a tail of about 5 inches. Then you insert the needle through the first 2 beads as shown. Then back through the 2 last beads, the last 2 beads. And through the first 2 beads. So we are starting with a lot of repetition because we want to reinforce our work. Yeah, so do the first 2 beads. And finally, through the last 2 beads. So now it is tight and secure. So now we can continue doing our first row. So pick 2 beads, then you pass the needle through the last 2 beads, and back through the 2 beads that you just picked. So this is called a ladder stitch, and it's the first row. It's our foundation. So pick 2 beads, then you pass the needle through the last 2 beads, and back through the 2 beads that you've just picked. Pick 2 beads, pass the needle through the last 2 beads, and back through the 2 beads that you just picked. So do that until you get to the end of the row. So the first, this our ladder stitch, our base row, it's a set of 15. So you'll do this 15 times plus the first two. They should all be 15. So I will speed up the video. Please don't forget that it's 15 columns. Okay, so now I'll speed up the video. So we are done with our row. Please make sure you count 15 times. So mine is 15. You turn your work. Turn your work. So to begin a new row, you'll pick 4 beads. Then you pass the needle through the second loop of stitch. Skip the first loop. Then back through the last 2 beads. And through the first 2 beads. And back through the last 2 beads. So pick 2 beads, then you pass the needle through the loop of stitch. Always remember, you're passing the needle through the loop of stitch. This is called a brick stitch. Then you pass the needle through the 2 beads that you've just picked. It is very easy. You just pick 2 beads, pick 2 beads, then you pass the needle through the next loop of stitch. Pass the needle through the next loop of stitch. And back through the last 2 beads. I'm really sorry, I didn't know that some scenes I was recording off camera. I'm really sorry about that. But it's the same thing. You pick 2 beads, then you pass the needle through the loop of stitch and back through the 2 beads that you just picked. So you do that until you get to the end of the row. I will speed up the video. So we are done with our second row. So to begin the next row, you pick 4 beads. So you'll do this throughout until you get to the last row. So you pick 4 beads in the beginning of every row, and you pass the needle through the loop of stitch, the second loop of stitch, and through the last 2 beads, and back through the first 2 beads, and through the last 2 beads again. So it's a repetition of what you did with the second row. So you'll do this until you get to the very last row. So you pick 2 beads, you pass the needle through the next loop of stitch and back through the 2 beads that you just picked. So pick 2 beads, pass the needle through the next loop of stitch and back through the 2 beads that you just picked. So I will speed up the video. Let's get to the very end of the row, to the last row. So now we are working on the last row. So you'll pick 4 beads, then you pass the needle through the loop of stitch and back through the last 2 beads and through the the first 2 beads, and back through the last 2 beads. So it's very easy. It's a repetition of all the rows. So now you'll pass the needle through your work as shown until you get to the bottom of the triangle, so that you can start working on the fringes. So we're done picking the beads for the first fringe. So now you skip the last bead, then you pass the needle through all the other beads. So pass the needle through all beads as shown. Make sure that you do not tighten the thread too much. Make sure it's loose. So then you pass the needle through the second 2 beads of the base row. So now we are ready to begin the second fringe. I realized I made a mistake while working on this fringe, so the instructions for the rest of the fringe will be on the screen. So the instructions for the rest of the fringe will be on the screen. So this is our result. It's very beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you.